I know there's a march happening on Earth Day in Christchurch, Auckland and Wellington, and it's part of an international movement responding to US President Trump's taking down of references to climate change on the EPA website and his apparent denial that climate change is an issue or is happening. Well, not to the extent that it's happened in the United States. But we have seen here in Canterbury, under the appointed commissioners, the Regional Council used to do a State of the Environment report, quite comprehensive one, but the last one of those was published in 2009-10, and with appointed commissioners we haven't had one. So it's not denial, it's just making sure that the analysis doesn't get out there so the public are less well informed. And under the current national government, we've seen a major investment in technology and innovation, but in the fisheries space, the funding for science and research around fisheries management, marine ecosystems has been static for about the last 20 years, and that's been successive governments, not just the current one. So that has meant that there is not the information base that we need to manage our fisheries and our oceans sustainably. We have seen the Department of Conservation under the current government starved of funding for biodiversity, and again that means that it's not so much denial but the research that we need to better understand the precarious state of a lot of our indigenous species and how we can best respond and pull them back from the brink of extinction isn't happening to the degree that it should. Certainly quite a lot of work is being done, but we would like to see much more investment in science for biodiversity. And I guess the other key gap in science at the moment is funding for much more work on natural systems, soil science, how we can increase carbon sequestration, what soil types are the best for different land uses. We've seen dairying expand on very gravelly, stony soils on the Canterbury Plains. That leaks nitrate into aquifers and rivers. We need much more understanding of how our natural systems work, what sort of lands, what sort of soil types, microclimates are suitable for what sort of land uses, and matching up those land uses with the appropriate microclimates and soils so that we're not having dairying expand into fragile environments. In terms of the impact of the United States and its policies around the world, we saw with the Women's March people responding, and it is a really good way of highlighting the importance of rational, accurate information and its impact on policy. So the March for Science can highlight how when we have good research showing that this sort of policy should respond to these needs in society and the environment, we should act on that.
That's
and
great.
I think the March for Women was enormously empowering, and people need to be active citizens. People can change things dramatically by working together, and marches like this shows what we have in common and the importance of really good policy based on good science, and the importance of scientists being able to speak freely. In New Zealand over the last 2 decades, there's been a major sort of clampdown with the CRIs. Their spokespeople are now generally comms people rather than the scientists. There's much less scope for them to speak, and unless scientists speak, people like Mike Joy, for example, has really highlighted what's happening with our waterways and what's happening to our native fish, because he has been a brave advocate. You shouldn't have to be brave to speak the truth about what's going on.